they killed Martin. And this little guy, little bitty small white man, started talking and he realized and you could see it was Robert Kennedy. And I thought, oh my God, they're gonna kill him.
Some see a grilled cheese sandwich and ask why. I see a new kitchen with a grill and ask why not.
Yeah, I need a house with a different view.
At U.S. Bank, our people are dedicated to turning your new inspiration into your next pursuit.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm only going to talk to you just for a minute or so this evening because I have some very sad news for all of you. Could you lower those signs, please?
The ones who are closest to him are more likely not to have heard the news. And so they are screaming and applauding, and they are also the people who are most likely to be Kennedy supporters because they've arrived early to get good places around the truck. And so they're waving his campaign signs with his pictures on, and they are wearing his buttons. And he can't deliver this kind of news if people are screaming and waving his signs in the air.
I have some very sad news for all of you, and I think sad news for all of our fellow citizens and people who love peace all over the world. And that is that Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis, Tennessee.
We didn't even know that Dr. King had been killed until Robert Kennedy spoke.
I think most of the audience knew that, but somehow there was a leader confirming that. Yes, it is true. He has died.
It's as if the knowledge of it moved physically back through the crowd, which it did.
A little sunshine's good for you, woman.
I could hear it. You could hear it. It got really quiet.
Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and to justice between fellow human beings. He died in the cause of that effort. This difficult day, this difficult time for the United States, it's perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in.
She's in the kitchen, Mocha.
Oh my goodness. Did I leave her out
The
there
evidence
all
evidently
by
is
her little self?
white people who are responsible. It can be filled with bitterness and with hatred. And
Hey,
desire
go
for
get your
revenge.
dog.
We can move in that direction as a country.
Oh,
Get out of his
he's
movie.
very aggressive with
Black
me
people
today.
amongst blacks,
She's out in the backyard wondering where you went.
filled with hatred toward one another. Or we can make an effort, as Martin Luther King did, to understand and to comprehend and replace that violence, that stain of bloodshed that is spread across our land with an effort to understand, compassion, and love. For those of you who are black and are tempted to be filled with hatred and distrust of the injustice of such an act, against all white people. I would only say that I can also feel in my own heart the same kind of feeling. I had a member of my family killed, but he was killed by a white man.
That was the first time in my memory, or that I had ever heard of, in which he mentions Jack, the president, who had been assassinated. He described him not even as my brother, he described him as a member of my family.
And here he's talking about it suddenly for the first time in public, you know, to several thousand people.
This is the last great national figure who had been killed was his brother. And it started him thinking about that. He'd been wrestling with trying to make his peace with his brother's death for the past 5 years, and this is one more chance to do it.
There wasn't a person in America who didn't know that Robert Kennedy was running, in a sense, in place of his brother who had been assassinated.
He lost his brother, they lost their leader. He was able to put himself in a position and convince them that he understood.
And that night he was wearing Jack's old tweed overcoat. And of course, imagine being cloaked in his brother's old coat as he gave the speech.
But what he's saying is, let's not think of this in racial terms. Let's think of this as something terrible that happened for all humanity, and it doesn't matter.
Hey, what are you doing?
I had to put
Suffering.
what I pulled into the green
And I have
trash
also
can.
that comes to my mind now.
That tree is taking over.
I mean, it's as if he'd saved this
I
this
need, that
Trump
reminds
card
me, I need to slice off
since
that arm of the
1963
tree.
to play this
Babe. Before you go doing things, let me look and let me check it.
Oh, I've done
He
that
never did.
a year ago.
He saved that Trump.
You chopped it off.
You checked it.
But we have to
No, I
make it
want,
in the United
babe.
States.
Well,
We have to
let
make
me
an effort
see.
to understand.
Mocha,
Beyond or go beyond
she's
the
looking
politics
all
of
over
time.
for you. Where is
My
Sharon?
favorite poem, my favorite poet was Aeschylus. He once wrote, even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart, until in our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God.
The words themselves just sort of drip, drop, and you can just sort of see it happening, and it just sort of calms you.
Oh, you can get beat up, Grandma.
I don't think any
Look at your shirt.
campaign professional urged her to report the weeks at that point. Maybe
I
Lincoln.
talked with
Modern
Carlos
politicians
today, our
don't go around
Moore,
putting escorts to.
and he says, is
Well,
today a
this is
good day? And I said, and it
Maybe
was
they should.
12:30, and I said,
He
yeah,
would
after
not
1 would be wonderful.
Talk to the poor any different than he talked to the wealthy.
When John F. Kennedy was killed, Bobby had a terrible pain, not just that his brother was dead, but that he had somehow caused his brother's death. Bobby Kennedy, as Attorney General, had really gone after the mafia. He had been part of this whole plot to kill Castro, and he was worried that it was payback time, that the mob or some
And it
Cubans would come back,
was.
not to kill
He
him, but to
got
kill
his
his
payback,
brother.
too.
So he was racked with guilt, and he had
All
to
of
find a
them
way
got their payback.
to deal with this.
Weird
And
that
Bobby had always
Kennedys
been
are
a
like
faithful
cursed.
Catholic, the most Catholic member of his family, regular attendant of Mass. And
Oh, well, the most
his
Catholic,
wife was
well, that's
strong
for
Catholic.
sure.
And yet he had a crisis
He
of
was
faith.
out there breeding
On
one
the
day.
night his brother
Him and his
died,
brother.
when a friend put him to bed in the Lincoln bedroom,
And I think,
the fellow closed the door and
I
heard
think,
Bobby cry out,
they
"Why
killed
God?"
her too.
And in the weeks that followed, Bobby temporarily lost his faith, and he began to search. And he looked in different places, and he
It
found the
might not
Greeks,
have been
this
the
whole
Kennedys
idea
that
that
did it,
hubris, that overweening
but
pride,
it was the government that
arrogance,
did it.
is paid back by the gods.
And I think
Tragedy, death and destruction.
maybe the
That
Kennedys
resonated
did have something to
powerfully
do
for
with
him.
it.
This whole idea
She's
that the
gonna
Kennedys,
ruin your
like
career.
the House of Agamemnon,
She's
had
gonna
overreached,
destroy you.
and that
And-
now they're reaping the reward.
You know, they
You have
used
to have
her
a stone
like
for a
fucking
heart.
whore.
Upon listening to that,
But the
that
trouble
night
is,
in
she
that
licked
place,
herself to it too.
not to appreciate what it was.
And they got the message, which is
Yeah.
that
They
through
weren't moral
suffering
people at
comes wisdom.
All true.
That it doesn't all have to be bleak and negative and bad.
Why do all our
that
heroes have to
when you
be
feel the worst sometimes,
have
when you
feet
learn the
of
most.
clay?
Good poetry, good art, in any context tends to elevate. He was a simple sounding man with some rich resources on which to draw. And he gets into
He
that
reminds
audience
me of,
and he plucks a flower out of Greek literature and hands it
I know
to an
that's not
audience.
for me.
And it had a wonderfully calming effect.
He reminds me of Jay's
So what
friend,
that showed
the black guy.
and what he proved by doing
Yeah, I've got to see who reminds you of him.
Well,
was that
probably too late.
there is almost
too
no
late.
person,
They looked very similar,
no matter
except for this
how
guy was
mean
older.
their
What is his
circumstances,
name? I don't like to say
no
black
matter
guy.
how scanted their education,
Let me think for a minute.
who cannot be addressed in the noblest terms
Oh well,
of which the human heart is.
I like him. I like him a lot.
Back off.
You're not welcome here.
Get out of my face. HPV can cause certain cancers when your child grows up. Get in its way. HPV can affect males and females, and there's no way to predict who will or won't clear the virus. But
I
you
should
can help
say
protect your
Nicole's
child by taking a first step.
godfather.
The CDC recommends HPV vaccination at age 11 or 12 to
A
help
Jew
protect against certain cancers.
with a black guy as a
Cancer,
godfather.
Not child.
Very
Don't
strange
wait.
people.
Talk to your
And
child's
she's
doctor
an
about
extreme
HPV
Christian.
vaccination today.
Our family is weird. Nobody's related to nobody except you. Well, we are through different